Hello everyone, welcome to Global Online. In this lecture, we are going to see NTA UGC Net Paper 1, and in this lecture, we are going to discuss most expected MCQ on Teaching Aptitude Unit, and today we are going to discuss the MCQ on Factor Affecting Teaching, which is very important subtopic under Teaching Aptitude Unit. Okay. So do watch this lecture to clear all your doubt about the same, and you will receive my lecture every day at 7 a.m. So do visit our channel every day at 7 in the morning and do watch my lecture to score more marks in the upcoming exam. Before we move forward, I want to tell you that we the Global Online has brought 2000 plus MCQ quick revision PDF in which you are going to get current affairs questions, previous year questions, most expected questions and most repeated questions for the paper 1, and this PDF is available just for rupees 599. To get a PDF, contact on given number. अगर आप ये PDF लेके स्टडी करते हो तो मैं श्योर हूँ कि आपको 70-75 मार्क्स इजीली मिल जाएंगे और आपका पेपर 1 इजीली क्लियर हो जाएगा. What you are waiting for? Get the PDF and start your preparation today. Which of the following factor does not impact teaching? So here in this question they ask you, given which factor does not impact teaching, for which the first option is teacher knowledge, second one is classroom activity that encourage the learning, third one is social economic background of the teacher and the student, and the last one is learning through the experience. So here the teacher knowledge will yes affect the or will create the impact on the teaching, right? The classroom activity will also create the impact on the teaching, and learning through the experience will also create the impact on the teaching. But the social economic background of the teacher and the student will not have that impact on the teaching. Why? Because even if the students is belong to the poor category or a rich category or belong to the any caste, we consider each and every student is equal in the school, right? So because of that, the social economic background of the teacher or the student will not create any impact on the teaching. So because of that, the correct answer for this question will be option number C, that is social economic background of the teacher and a student. Student-centric classroom is mean for. So here they ask you about the student-centric classroom, for which the first option is addressing individual differences, second one is reducing teacher-oriented lecture, third one is recalling the previous knowledge, and the last one is engaging the entire class. So here the student-centered learning applies to the many educational learning, teaching and support approaches that tackle the individual students, group of the student and specific learning needs, interests, preferences or a cultural background. The student center or which is also known as learner center approach in the teaching learning process, and in this approach the learner or a child and not the teacher is the main focus of the educational institution. So here the learner is the one who play the important role. Okay, it emphasizes the learning rather than the teaching. The more focus will be given on the learning process and not on the teaching. The overall goal of the education, according to this approach, the overall development of the child. The curriculum, according to this approach, should be based on the needs, interests, attitude, ability of the learner at a different level, so that it enables them to acquire the necessary skills, knowledge, attitude and a value for realizing their full potential. Okay. That means the correct answer for this question will be option number A, that is addressing individual differences. One of the factors does not influence the quality and the quantity of the learning. So in this question they ask you, given which factor does not influence the quality and the quantity of the learning, for which the first option is physical, then is social, then is facilitator, and last one is the cultural. Okay, the factors that influence the learning will be the physical factor is there, mental factor is there, psychological factor is there, external factor is there, social factor is there. Okay, so under the physical factor there is a physical setting, classroom environment, infrastructure, noise free environment is there, right? So then is mental factor, then is facilitator factor, external factor is there, social factor is there. So overall we can say that the health, relation, society, culture, value, attitude are a key influencer of the learner, right? But the infrastructure or the material can be the less important than the other factor in the learning. So here all these factors have a influence on the quality and the quantity of the learning, but the physical factor have a less influence on the quality and the quantity of the learning, and because of that the correct answer for this question will be option number A. Under what learning experience conduct of field trip comes in? So here in this question they ask you, in given which learning experience the conduct of field trips comes in, for which the first option is enactive, second one is iconic, third one is symbolic, and the last one is the affective. Okay, so here it has been identified the three stages of cognitive representation, which include the enactive stage, iconic stage, and the symbolic stage. Under the enactive stage it refers the representation of knowledge through action. Learning by doing is the main principle, and they learn by physical action and sorting things in the memory. This included in the enactive stage. Second one is the iconic stage. It refers to the visual summarization of the image. The learner store the sensory image which are a visual one, and a symbolic is the, it refer to the use of words and other symbol. To describe the experience stores in the memory in the form of a symbol, that is a language. Here the correct answer for this question will be option number A, that is enactive, because here in this we consider the learning by doing is the main principle. Okay. Which of the following is not a teacher related factor affecting the teaching? So here in this question they ask you, given which of the following is not the teacher related factor affecting the teaching? For this the first option is knowledge of the subject, second one is communicative skills, third one is empathy with the students, and the last one is availability of the resources. Okay. So the effective teacher emphasis on the learner-centered education. They educate the physical of the teaching, in which the students are given far more important role in the curriculum decision than the traditionally being the case. The factors which affecting the teaching related teachers are the teacher knowledge, which will play the important role here. If the teacher is not having a knowledge of the subject, then he or she will not perform his task effectively. The teacher who are fairly rooted in the subject knowledge make a clearance presentation and recognize the student's difficulty readily. They can handle the queries of the student effectively, right? If the student asks any query, then the teacher will be able to answer that question, right? Queries of the students. Then is a organization and a clarity. So here the organization is reflected in arranging the concept and the content to be taught in the systematic and orderly function that enables the student to understand in the better way. If a teacher arranges the content in a better way, then she can go through the sequence and student can understand that better. The teacher should have a better communication skill. Why I am saying this? Because if the teacher is not having a better communication skill, he will not able to communicate fluently or smoothly, and because of that the teaching will not create that effect, right? So communicative skill is again important here. Then there is a empathy. The teacher who is a warm and a friendly inspire and instill the positive attitude and the love for a learning in their student. Such a teacher are known to be a more effective in terms of a student, increase the attention, achievement, willingness to learn and a favorable attitude towards the content. So here the correct answer is option number D, that is availability of the resources is not a teacher related factor which affecting the teaching. Knowledge of the subject, communicative skill or empathy with the student, all these factors, these are related to the teacher. Okay. The most important quality of effective teacher is. So here in this question they ask you the important quality of effective teacher. Read the question carefully. So here they said most important. Okay. For this the first option is deep knowledge about the subject taught. Second one is the strict disciplinarian. Third one is good rapport with the student. And the last one is a good motivator. Okay. So teacher often play the various role in the life of the student. One of the key role played by the teacher is that of the motivator, right? So the motivation refer to the derived to be a something. As an effective teacher, it is essential to reward the student for the good work. When the student does something good, the teacher have to do the reward, because this encourage the student, right? A teacher should encourage the student to become the self-motivated by giving a frequent and a positive feedback that support the belief that they can do well. The enthusiasm that the teacher brings the essential factor in the student motivation. The good teacher should become the external driver of the motivation for the student by welcoming the different perspective and accommodating the different needs. Okay. So here having a good knowledge about the subject is yes important, but it is not about the good motivator. So the correct answer is option number D. Okay. Which of the following skill you do consider most essential for the teacher? So here in this question they ask you, given which of the following skill do you consider the most essential for the teacher? For this the first option is ability to help the children understand the text thoroughly. Second one is ability to help the children to do all the exercises. Third one is ability to raise the possible action from the text. And the last one is ability to help the children from their own opinion on the texts. To create a successful education, good classroom management will be so needed, because by applying this, the teacher can control, organize, access and prompt the class well. Based on the fact the role of a teacher in managing the classroom is needed by the teacher. The skill of an effective teacher. The teacher who is firmly rooted with the subject knowledge make a clear presentation and recognize the student difficulty readily. If the teacher is having a good knowledge of the subject, he will be able to teach the properly to the class and student will understand the things properly. translate the knowledge into the appropriate curriculum of the assignment, test, game, lesson, demonstration. He or she should be able to undertake the application-oriented teaching as well. Clear presentation and explanation that tend to have a student to learn the more and also rate the teacher most positively. The most essential skill of a teacher having an ability to help the children from their own opinion on the text. Okay. So here the option D will be the correct answer here. The ability to help the children from their own opinion on the text is considered the most essential for a teacher. Which of the following is not true about the right kind of educator? So in this question they ask you, given which of the following is not the true about the right kind of educator? For this the first option is must not let the student make him their ideal. Second one is must free himself from the book and the laboratories. Third one is must not let the student to be engulfed in their own self-enclosing perquisite. And the last one is must look for the success of his student as a own success. Okay. So the quality of a teacher for a teaching effectively include the teacher behavior, knowledge regarding the subject matter, teacher belief and a teacher dedication towards improving the student. So the essential qualities of the good teacher will be good motivational skills should be there, strong communication skills should be there, setting a good example for the others by making a teacher learning process is there. He must free himself from the books and the laboratories. He must not allow students to make him her ideal, and he must not let the student to engulf in their own self enclosing pursuit. Okay. So here the correct answer is option number D. That is must look for the success of his student as a own success. Which of the following is a direct method of adjustment? So here in this question they given you 4 options and they ask you given which of the following is the direct method of adjustment, for which the first option is projection, then is repression, then is regression and the last one is substitution of the goals. The concept of adjustment oriented from the biological term adoption. The adjustment means the reaction to the dependent and pressure for the social environment, emphasis among the individual. The demand of which individual has a react may be the external and the internal. The direct method of the adjustment are substitution of the goal, then is accepting reality, analyzing problem situation, and the last one is diverging one's interest. So here the correct answer is option number D, that is substitution of the goal is a direct method of the adjustment. A teacher will become an effective communicator if. So here in this question they ask you a teacher will become the effective communicator if the first option is he used the instructional facilities. Second one is he helped the student to get the meaning out of what he teach. Third one is he asks the question in between the teaching, and the last one is he helped the student to get a correct answer to the question on the topic. So to become an effective communicator, the teacher should have a good communication skill. Okay, whatever he is teaching or she is teaching in the classroom, the student should understand that. Okay, so the correct answer here is option number B, that is he helped the student to get the meaning out of what he teach. Whatever topic he might be teaching in the classroom, that topic should be understood by the student. Okay. The most important indicator of quality of the education in an educational institute is. So here in this question they ask you the most important indicator of the quality of the education in an educational institute. For this the first option is infrastructural facilities of the school. Second one is classroom system. Third one is textbook and teaching learning material. And the last one is student achievement level. So when we have to judge the quality of the education in any educational institution, what we look for? We look for the students' achievement level, right? So the correct answer is option number D. Though the infrastructure facilities should be the good, classroom system should be the good, and a textbook and a teaching learning material should be there, but the most important indicator will be option number D. Which one of the following is the most important element in the teaching? So here in this question they ask you given which of the following is the most important element in the teaching. For this the first option is relationship between the teachers and the student. Second one is subject matter. Third one is teaching technique and its use. And the last one is student knowledge. So here improving student relationship with the teacher as an important, positive and a long-lasting implication for the student academic and social development. So the teacher should have a good relationship with the student because to have a positive, long-lasting impact. So the correct answer for this question is option number A. Relationship between the teacher and a student. Teacher play an important role in the teaching learning process as what of the learning. So in this question they ask you the teacher, the one who is teaching in the classroom, play the important role in the teaching learning process as what of the learning. For this the first option is facilitator, second one is participant, third one is advisor, and the last one is practitioner. Okay, the teacher is not only the act as a source of knowledge but also the act as a role model. We consider the teacher as a role model, right? The mentor or a advisor. A teacher can actively and wisely have a effect on the student life. The primarily teacher role in the classroom is to impart the knowledge to their student which will help them to gain and learn the new thing about the specific or a general subject. So here the teacher role is of a facilitator. The teacher find a new way of understanding and support their student learning style, keeping in mind that a young mind are a individual on their own, so that they tend to have a different speed. The role of a teacher is to inspire, motivate, encourage and educate the learner. The teacher is a facilitator and not a director. Okay. We consider the teacher as a facilitator. So to assist the student to acquire and reorganize the knowledge. Being a source of a knowledge, a teacher is responsible for having a accurate and up-to-date knowledge. Concerning the subject matter, he or she is charged to be a nathless. It is also accepted from the teacher to be well informed about the current affair and the new development happening around the world. The teacher, one who is taking the lecture in the class, should have a knowledge about the current affair or a up-to-date information she should have. Because any student, if they have a problem with a certain topic, they will obviously ask to the teacher, and teacher should have to answer the student. For this, the teacher should have a knowledge about the subject. The answer here for this question is option number A. Teacher plays an important role in the teaching learning process as the facilitator of learning. Which learning theory provides support for the active participation of a learner in the learning process in an interactional setting with the intrinsic motivation as the basis? So in this question they given you some theory's name and they ask you, given which learning theory provide the support for the active participation of the learner in the learning process in an interactional setting with the intrinsic motivation as the basis. For this, the first option is SR theory of Watson. Second one is reinforcement theory of Skinner. Third one is constructivist theory of Vygotsky, and the last one is insight theory of Kohler. Okay, so the first theory is all about the SR theory of Watson, which is also known as classical SR behaviorism. Okay, SR. Watson published the article Psychology as the Behaviorist Viv 8, also called a Behaviorist Manifesto. Okay, behavior is the result of stimulus response. Second one is reinforcement theory of the Skinner. So here the Skinner published the behavior of organism, also known as operant conditioning theory. Operant conditioning theory. Then there is constructivist theory of Vygotsky. Knowledge is a co-construct and a learn from one another. The learner must be engaged in the learning process. The Vygotsky acknowledgement intrinsic development, and there are three main aspects of a cognitive development through the social interaction. That is, cultural is a significant in the learning. Then is a language is the root of culture, and individual learn and develop within their role in the community. Okay, this is the theory of Vygotsky. And the last one is insight theory of Kohler, the immediate and a clear learning or a understanding that take place without a trial and error testing. Insight occur in the human learning when the people recognize the relationship which that help them to solve the new problem. The correct answer for this question is option number C, that is a constructivist theory of Vygotsky. Identify the factor affecting the teaching related to the positive learning environment in the institution. So here in this question they given you some options and they told you to identify the factors which are affecting the teaching related to the positive learning environment in the institution, for which the first option is the extent to which teachers make a clear presentation. Second one is the scope for sharing and open discussion within the classroom and the institution as such. Third is teacher mastery of the content as reflected in answering the student and questions. Fourth one is frequent use of positive reinforces either in the institution or a classroom. And the last one is availability of the teacher and his or her guidance. For this they given you the code, and from this code you have to select the correct one. Okay, so here the teacher educational qualification of a teacher highly affected the learning. There is a huge difference between the teacher with a professional teaching degree and without the professional degree, right? A teacher should have a mastery of a skill like a communication, use of the teaching aid, selection of an appropriate teaching method, and a passion for the teaching. If one teacher is there who don't have any interest in the teaching, will that teacher will teach effectively? No, right? Because the teacher is not having the interest only. So the teacher should have a skills like a communication. The communication skill should be there. Okay. Then there is the teacher, one who is teaching should use a teaching aid. Should choose the appropriate teaching method. Okay, and should have a passion for the teaching. Learner or psychological differences in a learner play a very important role in a teaching learning process. The learner attitude, aptitude, motivation, mental health, the goal in his life highly affected the learning. And the learning environment, the interaction of a learner with the teacher and the other peer is important for the active participation in the classroom learning that has to be maintained by both teacher and learner. The social and the economic background of the teacher and learner directly and indirectly affect their thinking. The motivation in the classroom is important. The teacher is an important person inside the classroom to motivate the child and provide the reward to induce interest in the learner. The correct answer for this question is option number D, that is 2 and 4 is included. The scope for sharing and open discussion within the classroom and the institution as such, and frequent use of positive reinforcers either in the institute or the classroom. So here is the question which I asked you in my previous lecture. The question was, which of the following method of a teaching will encourage the indirect learning? Okay. So the first option was lecturing with the example. Second is team teaching. Third one, demonstration on a subject. And the last one is collaborative project. So here the direct teaching method, where the teacher used the method such as a lectures, demonstration, and this type of a teaching, it engages the student in the face-to-face interaction. And the indirect teaching is, it is a type of a teaching active method such as a role play. Then there is a project is there, assignment is there. Okay. So indirect method are basically the learner-centered method where the students are actively involved in the teaching learning process. Okay. So here the correct answer for this question will be option number 4, that is collaborative project. So here is the last question which you have to answer. The question is, teaching will be effective if a teacher, and the options given are, is the master of the subject. Second one is as much experience in the teaching the subject. Third one is start from what the student know already, and the last one is uses many instructional facilities. Okay. Please try to answer this question. Write your answer in the comment box. I am waiting for your answer. Till then, keep watching, keep learning.